Hey everybody, so glad to have you guys join us today. My name is Jared, and yeah, so today I'm going to be talking to you about how to use your UNINET iColor printer, which is a white toner printer. By the way, we have a whole set of videos and webinars on white toner. Of course, as we know, white toner gets you these really cool full color prints on your dark cotton garments, but there's a way to use your white toner printer, your UNINET iColor white toner printer for sublimation, and it's extremely cool, and I'm extremely excited to show you guys. It's really easy to switch out the cartridges on the toner. They're hot swappable, so you just open it up, pull out your regular toner cartridges, put in your sublimation toner cartridges, and you're ready to go. It's that simple. It really is. It's that simple to switch it out. I already fired off my prints. Because I'm running a long USB over there, they do take a little bit of extra time, so I wanted to speed this up. We're in the RIP software. It's very easy. So I imported my graphic. You'll see here that it doesn't quite fit. So of course, the job, I gotta rotate it. And then you gotta set your page. So we're gonna click on this, legal. So there we go. So now it fits. And of course, we're doing sublimation. So you're gonna wanna mirror this. And then you right click and you send to print. Now I already printed it, so I'm not gonna print another one, but it's that easy. So you can see here, we already have our sample that we've pre-pressed, of course. And one thing I'll say about this is that sublimation is the softest possible transfer you could ever put on a t-shirt. The colors, as you see, are extremely vibrant. That's not a camera trick. They actually look amazing. I'm going to show you how easy this is right now. So the only thing you're not going to see on screen right now is the actual print process. I showed you the RIP software. I showed you the printer. The only thing you didn't see was the printer spitting out our paper. So I'm going to center my graphic. Center my t-shirt on the heat press. I have my transfer right here. Now, some people heat tape it down. I don't. Now, the cool thing about using toner, sublimation toner, is that you don't need to use any special paper. This is regular copy paper. In fact, that's what they recommend. So I have my inverted image, of course. We're mirroring it. It's going to go like so. And I'm just kind of spacing everything out here, making sure it's going to work. Now, when you're working with sublimation, usually you want to put a piece of parchment paper inside your transfer. So here we have our parchment paper. Now, parchment paper is very important if you're sublimating because it does a lot of things. In this case, what we're going to do, we're going to put a sheet of parchment paper inside of our t-shirt, and this is going to prevent any bleed. One thing you'll notice with polyester t-shirts is they're usually pretty thin. And 9 out of 10 times, you're going to get a little bit of bleed through from your front graphic to your back graphic. So if you want to prevent that, put a piece of parchment paper inside. It's going to stop any sort of dye migration going to the back and you bleed through like that. You do want it to sit flat. If you don't want those wrinkles. Let's try this here. There we go. I'm just going to let it roll. This is obviously you'll want to take a little bit more time when you're doing this with your t-shirts. But I'm really just showing the sublimation process here. So we have our parchment paper inside to block anything. I'm going to put my transfer face down right here. And then I'm going to cover with another sheet of parchment paper. And we haven't really noticed much bleeding from the ink going back through the paper. But just in case, it's always a good idea to protect your heating element from any sort of anything, really, whether you're doing vinyl. I mean, it happens to the best of us. You'd be surprised how many people accidentally heat press their heat press instead of heat pressing the shirt. So now I have 90 seconds on the clock. Oh, that's a little loose. Give me just a second. I have my shirt pressure counter. So you see, I'm getting it right to about where I know it's going to be nice pressure. So reset the clock, hit that again. There we go. You notice you don't need heavy pressure for sublimation. Nice and smooth is the way to go. And again, this was printed on our UNINET iColor 560. Yes, that is a white toner laser printer, but there are sublimation toners available for it, which allows you to do sublimation. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I don't need, if I have a white toner printer, why am I still sublimating t-shirts? You never know. Garments, you never know when you're gonna need it. And also polyester, it's not just t-shirts, there's also other polyester applications. And basically what we're showing you today is that it is true sublimation. This isn't, it's not a gimmick, it's not an alternative, it's a true sublimation. And we're gonna be showing you that not only with t-shirts, but I have 40 seconds to grab this sample. We're also going to be showing you traditional substrates, like this really cool key hanger. You see that? Yeah, that's coming up next. So this is totally true sublimation. Again, you know it's sublimation because you're dyeing the surface. So you touch it and you don't feel any ink because you're dyeing the surface. The way sublimation works is that when it heats up, the ink turns in, or the toner in this case, turns into a gas dye, and the pressure from the heat press presses that dye into the material. Now you do want an immediate peel on this, and the difference between this and like your sawgrass is going to be like this. It's going to feel a little different on the panel. We're going to catch this, going to peel it nice and smooth. And there's a little stick to it, just a little bit. So we're just going to kind of follow it along. There we go. Like so. Sometimes it stretches, but the good thing, you just stretch it back. And there you go. Look at that. Look at how vibrant that is. And I wish you guys could feel how soft it is. Like, it's so soft. It's completely a part of the shirt. And that's one of the benefits of dye sublimation, is that you're dyeing the garment. So yes, white toner transfers do feel amazing, and yes, you can put them on dark cotton shirts, like this one. This one is actually very, very soft itself. Say this, even though this is very cool, it's on a black garment, it's still, and it's very soft, still not as soft as true sublimation. So if you're interested in white toner, but you do want to retain the qualities of true sublimation, I mean, it's a good option. Yeah, so as you saw, we have this right here. Sublimation toner. Again, there's nothing softer or more vibrant than sublimation on a t-shirt. So even though, yes, you are limited, it's still sublimation. And now it's time to show you guys something very cool. I'm just going to put that right here for a second. This is a sublimation key holder. Very cool decoration. We have the Hello Autumn. So what's cool about this is you can have like seasonal decorations in your house. Of course, you could put family picture. You could put a cute saying on there. Whatever you like, really. What are we going to do with this? So as I mentioned before, we have these prints already done. I printed these beforehand. And this is important to know. 8.5 by 11, 8.5 by 14. It does print up to 8.5 by 14, which is good because this is 11 inches long. And this is the key holder blank. It has this paint protective whatever to keep it from getting scratched in transit. There we go. And so now I have my transfer right here. There's two ways of doing it. Hello Autumn. Make sure you don't do it upside down. I'm going to place it right here, and as you can see, or may or may not see, the print is actually a little bit larger than my blank. You can do two things. You can heat tape it. If you're preparing your blank on a different surface, you can heat tape it to make sure that it doesn't move or shift. And I have some heat tape right here. Heat tape it back. It's fine. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually prep this on my heat press. And there's a very special step. If you have a clamshell heat press and you still want to press thicker items like this, I'll show you guys the trick to pressing thicker items on your clamshell heat press. Because again, this is the HPN Signature Pro 15 by 15. Oh wait, what? What did I just do? I just took off my lower plate. And of course, I don't want to scratch my items. So I'm just gonna put my ProRIP non-stick sheet there. That's a good protector, right? And what I did was, in removing that lower pad, I gave myself about an extra 3/8 of an inch or so in clearance. And that's exactly what I need in order to heat press this item. So again, heat tape, now I have to place this all over again, which is not that big of a deal for me. Right? Yeah. Now you probably can't see this on screen, but what I could see is like there's a little bit of light coming through. So I can see. Now I recommend using the heat tape method, but what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of lining it up, making creases, making sure that it fits. I'm really good at this, I'm gonna be honest. I've done this a zillion times, so I'm pretty good at lining things up like that. If you are not that confident in your skills and abilities in lining things up, then please don't. Please just get some heat tape. I promise you, that's the smart way to do it. This is the quick, professional way to do it. All right, there we go. So we're gonna put that on there. And with my very last, you guys are seeing history here. Oh no, it's on enough. This is the first time I've ever ran through an entire roll of parchment paper. These things last, I don't even know how many years I've had that roll. They last forever. Anyways, I'll just do this sheet right here. We're gonna cover it up. And then for this one, now, because this is a thicker piece of material, your time is gonna vary. I'm gonna use the same setting of 90 seconds because I believe that's gonna work. So, gonna do that. Now, I'm probably gonna have to loosen my pressure all the way because this is pretty thick. Your t-shirts are like not even an eighth of an inch thick, all right? And this thing is like close to half an inch. I think it's a half inch thick or 3/8 inch thick. So we loosened our pressure all the way. We removed the lower plaid, and that should get this to fit. So let's see. There we go. We got 90 seconds on the clock. Tara Gibbs asking, what temperature am I using? I'm using 380 degrees. That's the recommended temperature by UNINET. So again, this is not liquid sublimation ink. This is sublimation toner, which is more of a dry material. And so because it's different, there's a slightly different process when you're sublimating. Now, just because the process is a little different, your end results are going to be the same. You're still dyeing the surface of the mug. In fact, this is a finished version of what we have inside the press right now. And it's completely like there's no ink on the surface. You can't scratch it away. You can't feel it because, again, we dyed the surface. So it's still true sublimation. It's just a slightly different version of it, I guess I would say. And the cool thing about having the iColor 560 is you could switch between white toner and sublimation. White toner and sublimation are two completely different process, or I should say systems. They're two different ways of customizing your blanks, and they both have their advantages. And what's cool about the iColor 560 is that you get both. You get the best of both worlds in the same machine. So that's really what we're showing off today, how even though you have two different ways of customizing things, white toner and sublimation, they both are, you can kind of both at the same pressure. There we go. And again, this is a hot peel. We move that out of the way. And like, oh, that's hot. Don't touch it. And this one on hard surfaces is a little bit of a smoother peel than we saw on the other one. But look at that. The bottom is not as hot, so I can handle it. The top is very hot. Check that out. That's so cool. Now there is a way to finish this. You got those really cool. How you gonna hang your key hanger? I'm just gonna do this right here. We have the key hanger. What do you even call these? Hooks? Hook screws? Anybody knows? Let me know. We're gonna pull off 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, by the way, this mug was created with the sublimation toner. One thing I will say is when you're doing mugs or certain hard substrates, there's a cleaning solution, and you have probably discovered this even with regular sublimation ink. Yeah, sometimes there's a little film on there, even with normal sublimation ink. Well, with the toner sublimation inks, you might need a cleaning solution, which I believe we're going to start carrying very soon. But yeah, we even did this one. in our testing. We are full testing. We believe in full testing. So to get my key hanger ready to go, you just screw them in. And I don't know if you guys care to watch this all the way through, because I'm going to answer your questions right now, but I did want to show you how easy it is. And then we've had questions like, hey, how do you sublimate it with those hooks in there? Well, you sublimate it first, and then you add the hooks later. That's the secret. That's the magic. So I'm not going to do all of these because that's boring. But you guys will get the idea. Here we go. Making sure. Now, they're not screwed all the way in. But look at that. These little hooks, they're perfect for keys. I don't have my keys on me, but you can hang pretty much anything from here. It has little holes in the back, so you can mount it to your wall. Very, very cool. Very, very neat. I'm a big fan of this. And yeah, check that out. So this is like an incredible housewarming gift. This is something that I know even, what's really cool is realtors. All right, if you know any realtors, this is a great gift, and we've seen this given a lot, is they'll put like a custom family like the Barbosas or the Smith family or whatever, and they'll present this at closing. It's a really great way to impress or give your clients one last solid impression. And then you can put a little logo on there, I don't know, whatever, right? But they'll remember you, and then every time they hang their keys to their new house, it's on here, so it's very, very cool. We've seen this be a very successful gift for realtors. If you know any realtors and you have a sublimation setup, this blank is available on our website right now. It's great. It's a great gift. It's a great product. And get your realtor friends on there. So you might be asking, like, hey, why would I want to put expensive sublimation toner cartridges? Why would I buy the complete set of that if I could just have two separate machines? And so that's actually what we're going to be talking about right now. So if you look there on screen, you're going to see that we have pretty much the same setup. We have the Oki 711 WT, which is an 8.5 by, it'll do the same size white toner printer, but it's just a white toner printer. So on the left side of the screen, you have just a white toner printer, and separately, you have a separate Sawgrass SG500. It's its own, so there's two different printers, two different systems for customization. So again, that's the left side. So on the left side, you see we have the Sawgrass SG500 and the Oki 711 WT combined. If you buy them together, $4,098. Now, that to me, that's a great price, especially when you consider that for the white toner, you're doing white toner, full color customizations on black cotton t-shirts. The only other way to do this is DTG, and a DTG printer, you're looking for a full setup, you're looking at like $20,000, all right? So the printer on its own is only like $3,500 or so. So if you want full color prints on your dark garments, white toner is the way to go. That's the way to do it. We've already talked about this. It's very soft, it's very nice. So if you're interested in that, check out our previous webinars and videos that we're releasing. This month is our month of white toner. So we have a lot of content on that. Now, sublimation. And I just put, sublimation, you're gonna get, there's nothing on this planet softer than a sublimation transfer on a polyester t-shirt. It does not get any softer or any more permanent than this. This is beautiful. It has its limitations. You can only use polyester and white or light colored garments. Again, full color, soft as you could possibly get. It's beautiful. But then, of course, so you have sublimation blanks like this. This is a key hanger. It hangs your keys, and this is a fantastic, I was just talking about it, fantastic gift to give people, to make for people. And you could customize this, whatever you can think of, and you can design it, you can print it. Here's the pros of buying two separate machines. One, you get the dedicated separate machines for both white toner transfers and sublimation. For some people, that's a big deal, especially if you're running a lot of production and you need to have each machine focused on putting out transfers all day. The second thing is that there's a vast collection of online tutorials for your sublimation transfers. Well, if you can think about it, somebody has a video on how to sublimate it. whether it's the tumblers, and we have lots of these videos on our YouTube channel, Heat Press Nation's YouTube channel, that you can check out. All right, now let's go over to the iColor 560 on the right. So when you buy the iColor 560 on its own, it's about $3,600, and that comes with all the white toner. That's going to get you your full color transfers on the dark cotton shirts. Now, if you want to add the Sublimation toner kit, it's an extra $1,700 for the full kit, bringing your equipment cost total to $5,390. Okay, so now you're using one machine with two different sets of toner to do the exact same thing. Here are the pros. It saves space. Sometimes you're limited on space and you are just working, you have a home office and you are just pressed for space. You could not possibly squeeze in another machine without your spouse divorcing you, all right? Sometimes that's just how it is. The other pro is that there's no extra machine to pay off. The only expense is your toner per print, which is lower than traditional sublimation. Your cost per print on ink and paper or toner and paper is lower with the iColor, and I'll explain that in a second. The second is it's extremely low maintenance. Sawgrass SG500 is low maintenance, and the iColor 560 is extremely low maintenance. You don't have to even keep it plugged in. What the cool thing about laser printers is that you could, if you have to go on vacation for 2 weeks, shut it off, put it in a closet. And then when you come back a month, 4 months later, it's still going to be printing just fine. Of course, we all know with sublimation, you do have to print something every few days, or in the case of Sawgrass, you have to at least have it plugged in and it'll do its own self-maintenance. So Sawgrass is very, very low maintenance, but of course the iColor 560 is extremely low maintenance. So now we're going to talk about I don't want to call them cons, because honestly, I think you're going to be set with both, no matter which way you go, whether you go two separate machines or one combo. I think they're both awesome. I don't really see any cons. So instead of calling them cons, I call them not so pros. So the not so, so again, we're going back to the left side of the screen, the Oki 711 and the Sawgrass SG500. We're two separate machines. Here's the not so pros. There's a slightly higher cost per print. The average, and I did the math based on all the data I could possibly get from Sawgrass, combined with my personal experience, rough estimate. Per 8.5 by 11 sheet, for sublimation, you're looking at about 66 cents, ink and paper only. Does not count the cost of paying off the machine. You're at about 66 cents, rough average.
So I want to apologize. We were having some mic and audio issues while we were recording this live. So on the not so pros side, you'll see that there is a slightly higher cost per print. We talked about that. And then also there's minimal maintenance and care. So with the Oki 560, the total, the single package on the right, maintenance is almost non-existent. And with this, when you're working with the Sawgrass SG500, maintenance is very minimal. So even though minimal, it's just a little bit more than non-existent. And then of course, because the ink cartridges aren't as high capacity as the toner, if you have an SG500, you'll notice that there's going to be more frequent ink cartridge replacement than if you had the iColor 560 with the Sublimation toner kit. We're going to be talking about this in a second, but roughly, very rough estimate, so please don't hold us to this, very rough estimate is you're going to get about 600 prints or so, give or take. It really depends on your artwork, but roughly 600 prints on the SG500, and again, roughly 6,000 out of your Sublimation toner kit with the iColor 560.
On the iColor 560, if I repeat some information, I'm sorry. What I was saying is that the process is slightly different, and it may require a cleaning solution to eliminate residue on the hard surfaces. So far in our limited testing, it would just be the ceramic mugs. We need the cleaning solution to there's just a little bit of film, a little bit of residue that has to get eliminated. No big deal. So again, it's not really a con, it's just a slightly different process. If you're used to doing sublimation with like a Sawgrass with the liquid ink, you're just gonna have to adjust your process slightly. And then the last on the right side, again, iColor 560 with the two different toner kits. It's a new product, so there's not that many tutorials online yet. So if you are a new user, you're not very experienced at all, and you heavily rely on tutorials Nothing wrong with that. We have a deep library of tutorials for traditional sublimation, aka the left side of the screen. And we're developing tutorials for the right side of the screen, the iColor 560 with the sublimation toner. They're just not available yet. So of course, these are gonna be coming online. This is hot iColor 560 with sublimation, hot new product. So there's gonna be more coming up, but that's where we sit right now. So if you want to, you could screenshot this page so you can have a look at it and of course review it. If you're considering, you're like, hey, I want to get into white toner, but I also want to do sublimation because you want to do the dark cotton garments and you also want to do coffee mugs and other hard substrates. This is definitely something you want to consider. Do you want 2 separate machines or do you want the single machine that can do both? There's one more thing that I wanted to talk about really quick. And I know when you see the cost of ink cartridges and sublimation toner cartridges, there is a little bit of sticker shock, but I have to tell you, you do not pay for your ink. So one more time, I know it sounds like, wait, what? Am I like a snake oil salesman? No. I'll explain it. You do not pay for your ink, your customers do. So yes, of course, you have to cover the initial startup cost for your machines. But whenever you charge for a job, you should be factoring in the cost of your materials and you should be saving that money for when it's time to re-up on ink or toner. If you're struggling to buy ink every time you need to re-up your ink, if it's a struggle every time, I hate to say this, guys, it's because you're not doing your accounting or your bookkeeping properly. That's a business management problem. It's not a cost of ink problem. I'm sorry. I gotta tell you, I'll say it again. If you're struggling every time you have to buy more ink or more toner or more vinyl or something, it's not a cost of ink problem. It's a business management problem. And that's okay. We're here to help. I'm not here to judge. We all started off somewhere. So what I mean by the slide is your customers pay for the ink. Like I said, cost of ink and paper for a white toner sublimation print, roughly 29 cents, roughly. All right, could be higher, could be lower. So what that means is that every time you take a sublimation job and you have the toners, if your cost of materials is 29 cents, you're actually from that job, you're gonna save 50 cents, put that towards your new toner fund. And then when it's time to re-up your toners, it's already paid for. You're not struggling, you're not stretching yourself, you're not putting it on a credit card, you're not, borrowing money from your in-laws. Like, I don't know what you're doing, but you don't have to struggle, you don't have to hurt yourself every time if you just put aside a little bit with every order. The same goes for vinyl, the same goes for sublimation, whatever you're doing. For sublimation, we factored in ink and paper. It's about 66 cents per print. What does that mean? Every time you do a sublimation print, for that job, you're putting aside 75 cents towards you always want to estimate a little over, you're putting aside 75 cents towards your new ink cartridge fund. So when this ink runs out, you're not killing yourself to buy another one. That's what I mean when I say you're not paying for your ink, your customers are. The only thing it requires is a little bit of staying on top of things, but honestly, if you're running a business, you should really be considering like taking better care of your bookkeeping, because otherwise, or if you're spending, if you're spending all of your profits on every order, you're not going to have anything to buy your replacement materials with. That's just how it goes. So that's what I mean by that. Another important thing I wanted to mention is that and I'm reading over here, the cost of ink and toner is important when you're factoring your profit margin per piece. The difference is roughly between, if you're talking about cost per print, between sublimation, like a sawgrass, and the sublimation toner on your iColor, you're saving about 37, this is a rough estimate, about 37 cents per piece. This accounts for less than 2% of the margin on a $20 job, okay? 2%. So what does this mean? What do all these numbers mean? What that means is that the cost per print is important to consider, but it's not really a determining factor when you're deciding, do I buy 2 separate machines or do I buy the white toner
with the extra set of toner, sublimation toner. The cost per print, it is important, but in my personal opinion, I'm sharing this with you guys, it's not as important as your preference for, do I want one machine or two? That's actually a really big deal. Would you prefer one machine or two? That's more important to me than what you're going to save or spend on your per print, especially because your customers are covering that charge anyways. The cost difference, if you buy two separate machines versus one machine with two sets of ink or two sets of toner, cost difference is roughly $1,300. So yes, on the right, you will save money over time on your cost per print, which means more money in your pocket, and 37 cents, times 1,000 prints, $370. So it'll take you a little while to kind of recoup that cost difference. Just if you're only considering the cost saved per print. So again, those are your startup costs. So we're going to go back to that other one. All right. But if you have the budget and the other pros appeal to you, actually, we'll go back. If these other pros appeal to you, like you really need to save space and you would really like to have just one single machine with one single software set that you want to, deal with, then yeah, I think that preference supersedes the cost per print. Even though the cost per print savings, it is significant. Per print, you're saving half. It's like half the cost per print if you go with the toner option. But anyways, I just wanted to share this with you. I think it's very important to consider these facts when you're deciding, do you want two separate machines or one combo machine? The thing that I really like about having, and I'll say this about having the one combo machine, is the software. You only have to learn one RIP software. So one thing I want to clarify really quick is that, I mentioned having different softwares or just one software. When you're using the iColor 560, it's going to be the same software. It's the iColor ProRIP, whether you're using the regular white toner or the sublimation toner. And then if you have the Oki 711 and separate Sawgrass printer, that's two separate softwares. It's the Digital Factory RIP and also the Sawgrass Print Manager for your sublimation prints. But if you have any questions, I am here for you. Also, feel free to email me, jared@heatpressnation.com. My name, JARED @heatpressnation.com. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'll send out the comparison slides. I hope everybody's having an excellent day. I'll be sharing these slides. I want to thank you all for joining me today for this MyExpert live training webinar showing how to use the iColor 560 with the sublimation toner kit. Highly recommended, definitely love it. If you have any other questions, you can give us a call at 800-215-0894. That's going to do it for me, and I hope everybody has an excellent day.